I would like to present you my new friend, the Deckel FP1. We both have about the same age, and as you can tell, the Deckel is in way better condition than I am. Deckel is built in Germany, and like all German good things, he is perfectly over-engineered. He? She? I don't know. And when I say over-engineered, of course I mean it in a very positive way. This thing is the pure German quality. There's been a lot of thinking behind this building thing. And just like many other Deckel machines, it comes with this fridge. Let's open it up. No, it's not a fridge. It's an electric panel. And this shows a bit what I mean with over-engineered. Over here we have the main switch, and the outer part is broke, so it's always on. Here we have the selector, low speed, high speed, because it's a 2-speed motor. This switch, I have no idea what it's for. There is a transformer in here, so the outputs can be on the voltage we want. This here now is set at 220 volts in and 220 volts out. Over here we have the relay, and down here is the connections, the incoming 3-phase and the outgoing 3-phase to the motor. And when you have a look to attention to the details, all these wires are nice and straight. There's absolutely no need to do it this way, but in Germany they do. I think it's beautiful work. This machine is specified as a toolmakers machine, so it's not a big production thing, but high precision. We can tilt the head, of course. The fun is I can tilt the table that way, left and right. We can tilt it that way, a bit this way. We can tilt everything. There is 300 millimeters of X travel. 300 millimeters, about this. When I turn it around, I see that it's almost 12 inch. 150 millimeters of Y travel, and the Z travel 340 millimeters. I know it because it's marked here. There's also this really handy little tag here on the machine, and because now we have the vertical head, these are the speeds. Now in yellow is the half speed, a little bit more than half. For me it's impossible to read what's marked here, but here we have, I think the lowest speed must be about 100, between 80 and 100 RPM, and maximum speed 1900. And here are the feeds. Here we have the cutting speed, and in this line is the radius of the diameter of the cutting tools. So if we need a 10mm cutting tool at 20 meters per minute cutting speed, we set the machine at about 600, which I think here is in yellow. Over here on the column we have the speed selectors, very handy, and below we have the feed selectors. And of course the handles for the X. The Y, we move the head, not the table stays in place, it's the head that moves in and out. And of course the Z or the Z. Here we go. Automatic feed. And the other way. Feeding up. Feeding down. And on the Y-axis there's no automatic feed. There's of course also an inbuilt coolant tank, and the pump is inside the column. And when you pump this machine, you feel that it's nice and steady, it's rock solid. Except this one. The person who sold me this beauty also included in the price the delivery. So he brought it here and he installed it right here where it stands now. I had the right to touch nothing at all. So I think that's really great. All I did was make new feet for it because it's now a little bit higher than original. I don't like to work with a curved back. And to make enough room to have both machines next to each other, of course I had to move the shaper. And I promised myself not to hurt my back while doing it. And I suppose, as most promises, not only 1 hour later it was broken and I found pieces of my spine in my shoes. And there is no more. This pile of toys here came also with the machine, so there's a selection of colors, except one is missing, but some already used end mills, so we're gonna have a try in a moment. This white thing here that I have a really hard time to show you because it's too heavy, I can't lift it. This is the fixed center support, I don't remember how to call it. This is a dividing head. I never worked with a dividing head, so I have to learn. I'm not sure what's marked here, but this is clearly not English. The grey thing we found here is for a horizontal arbor and the horizontal support, of course. And I have a handful of horizontal tool holders, meaning drilling arbors and spacers and all kind of stuff. There's also a swivel base for the vise. I did not install it because the vise and the swivel base together are way too heavy for me to lift it. What I think is a nice touch is this bar here. Of course, as you see, it's not installed. This comes here. And here is an end stop. And here you can install an indicator. And you can make a stack of gauge blocks for high precision. And you have this system on the 3 axes. So that's a really nice touch. Instead of making just useless chips with this machine to show you, let's make T-nuts, because I don't have for this machine. The T-nuts for the shaper doesn't fit this one. Let's go for it. As you can see, this vise has already lived a hard life and someone made some test cuts on the jaws. I don't know why, but it is what it is. I have here a pair of parallels and they are wiggling in the bottom, so this vise really needs some attention. I have a nice little block here. All right. The last couple of days I spent my time making these handles because there were no. And of course I made these square holes with my square drill. Normally you drill a hole in this piece and then take a square hand file and start filing. And because I hate filing, I made this brooch. So I had to file only once to make the square hole to hold this broaching thing here. And now I can cut whatever square hole I need. And I made it out of center on purpose, so you can see that it is homemade and not bought. I have here a 16mm end mill with maybe a little bit life left in it. We'll see. First this one. Call it. Oh, call it. All right. The machine is all set, ready to go, but before I do that, let's talk stickers. I received a letter and a sticker from Matt from the Recreational Machinist. And what I like on this letter is an eye for detail. It's a very kind little note and it's a nice layout. And he made these two little openings here to hold the sticker in place. That's a really nice touch, eye for detail. And that also shows in his videos. When you watch his videos, they are very well made. And all the things he makes and all he does is all very detailed. The eye for the job well done. So Matt, I'm gonna put your sticker right here off camera. Okay, and as you can see Matt, your sticker is in place. And now another nice touch. This is the paper, the back side of his sticker. And on the back side is this ER code. I've never seen this before. This is genius. Right, let's do this. Depth of cut 1mm, not too much because I never cut with this machine before. And I'm gonna hand feed so I can feel a bit what's happening. Go. I always push the wrong buttons here. There's only two, but I push the wrong one. I'm too old for this shit. making the first cuts, maybe you could see that the whole thing was rattling in all directions. So I stopped and I checked, and it was the table it's mounted on, but it was not really tight. And I think this is the right occasion to talk about today's sponsor, which is of course I got you. Never gets old, that one. Okay, let's continue. The surface finish is not bad at all. Of course, the head is not trimmed. The table and all these things is just mounted on. There's nothing installed in line, nothing checked. It's just throw all together and that's it. Let's do the second surface. To make it easy, I should install my anti-bozo line this side, because when you work the machine you are this side. Here I can better see, but here I have better light. This side. I'm gonna try some climb milling, see if it works, because on the x-axis here there's a little bit of play, so we'll see if it's gonna rattle in all directions or not. If you don't check, you don't know. 1 millimeter depth of cut. Feels a lot better. A lot. This little block is now at thickness. Let's do the little piece of paper trick to find the edge. This should be 4 millimeter. And it is. That's good. finished cutting these two right shoulders on the T-nuts, and now let's drill some holes, drilling and tapping. And because this machine came without a drill chuck, I invested in a brand new one, and it's also made in Germany. I suppose it's quality. Now this was a very expensive one. I had to make this special arbor for it because there was no, and this goes in the collet. Install the thing here in place. I took this one because it's keyless. I'm tired of always ripping my skin off my fingers when you have this key on the blade or here on the drill press, and then this key is getting old and it jumps out and it's cause you tired of it. So I took a keyless. Let's see if it works. Maybe take out these parallels before having a stupid accident here. And here are my two brand new little T-nuts. Let's give it a go. It works. Of course I tried before start recording, so now I have to do as if I didn't know if it worked or not. Whatever. As I thought, indeed it is German quality. This thing is really well thought and it's easy to operate. All the dials are nice and big and easy to read. So it works perfectly fine. This handle for the feed mechanism is a bit stiff, a bit hard to operate, but I suppose while operating it will become a little bit better. There's a few little things I don't like this machine. When I talk German quality, for example, the lock system for the head and for the Y-axis is right here. I think it's stupid. All the commands are here. While working on a machine, here's where you stand. Maybe a bit more here to look over your workpiece. That's it. So this handle should be right here somewhere. And I think it's a bit disappointed from Deckel. Also, these handles, they are always connected. So when you use the automatic feed on this machine, this handle will always spin, this one or the other one. And because this stick out thing here, it could be a little bit dangerous. What I also miss on this one is a left turn. Of course the spindle is right turning, but you can't turn it in reverse. I think it's a bit stupid for a toolmakers machine, because toolmakers machine, probably we're gonna drill and tap holes with this thing. but you can only turn the tap in and you have to spin it out by hand, or otherwise open the chuck and spin it out with the handle. So for a toolmaker's machine, I think it's a bit a downside. Now the plus is very easy to operate. You have all the handles here, so you don't have to walk around to all the machine to operate it. Just stand here, that's all. I think that's great. One little problem I saw, of course that's not Deckel's fault, the pump for the coolant doesn't work, so that's a little thing I have to fix one of these days. A question could be, why should I buy this machine and not another one? Let me explain. I sometimes had a hard time drilling holes into the same parts. Like for example, this one, this is what I use on the shaper for making gears. So this plate and this plate has to be perfect in line, perfectly square with this one. So I drill holes in this part and I drill holes in the bottom part. On the drill press, that's always a little bit a challenge to line them out. So as I was looking around for, I don't know how you call it, but you have this X and Y axis thing that you can mount on the table of the drill press. But they all looked a little bit cheapy and not steady enough and a bit too small, and I didn't want. So I started to look out for a benchtop milling machine, you know, these small ones. And then I see on YouTube that several times there's a lack of rigidity on these machines. And okay, it comes with a DRO sometimes, but it's expensive. And then I thought, for the price I can have a brand new small one, I can have an old good one. Now if this is a good deal or not, I suppose future will tell. For the moment it looks promising. The only thing I found is that the spindle bearings are completely cooked. So one thing to take care of maybe one of these days, but it's not really urgent. I hope you found it interesting, the blah blah around this little Deckel machine, and what I think is a nice touch when you see the finish on the tables, this one and this one. It is made on a shaper or a planer. That's a really good reason to buy a Deckel, I think. I'm sure you will see pop up this machine a little bit more in some upcoming videos, of course. Now in this video I cannot tell everything. I first have to learn to feel the machine, learn his limits, learn a bit getting used to it. Because the last time I used a milling machine was in high school. That's a long time ago.